Yes, we do. In the full house. So. We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the December 19th meeting of the Board of County Commissioners. My name is Shelley Bueller, and I have the privilege of serving as chair of the commission alongside Commissioner Bob Archer and Commissioner Kevin Cook. So
Good morning.
welcome, welcome to our meeting. Madam Clerk, the first item, please.
Proclamations, presentations. Number 1, recognition of Shawnee County Parks and Recreation's receipt of the Community Organization Award, selected and presented by the Easter Seals Capper Foundation.
Good morning, Commissioners. John Knight, Parks and Recreation. I'd like to draw some attention to a recent award that our department won, and also that you guys could see the staff that was involved in receiving that award, get a chance to meet them, and also to present this publicly, because this is something I know that Shawnee County Parks and Rec, we're very proud to have been recognized to get this. And to help with that presentation and actually make the presentation, I'd like to invite Pam Wallstrom from the Easter Seals Capper Foundation to come up here and make a presentation. And I'd also like for Lynn Bishop and Cheryl Newton to come on up here to the front too as well.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to present this award that was given at our annual donor recognition on November 20th to recognize fine people from the Shawnee County Parks and Recreation Department. Potholes, curbs, sewer grates, and power poles. Then there are automobiles, vicious dogs, sand, and gravel. No, that's not the top 10 list from the David Letterman show. But if we were on the game show Jeopardy, we would have to respond to the list with, what are some of the obstacles that a child fears most when learning to ride a bike? Learning to ride a two-wheel bicycle is a rite of passage for most children. For children with disabilities, it often seems an impossible dream. Tonight, today, it is our privilege to recognize Shawnee County Parks and Recreation with the 2013 Community Organization Award for helping to make that dream a reality for nearly 100 children with disabilities since 2011. 3 years ago, we asked Shawnee County Parks and Recreation to partner with us to host the first ever I Can Bike in Topeka. The I Can Bike Camp is a specialized camp for children with disabilities that uses adapted bicycles and trained staff to enable children to lose their training wheels after 5 75-minute sessions at camp. To host the camp, we need a generous partner with a large indoor facility and outside track where the children improve their confidence and gain balance to ride their very own two-wheeled bike. The only facility in Topeka that met those requirements was the Central Park Community Center. At no cost to Easter Seals Capper Foundation, approval for use of the center was given, and Lynn Bishop and her very caring staff welcomed the parents and the campers each day for a week for the past 3 years. The impact of the camp can best be summed up by Chris Teeter, Easter Seals Capper Foundation physical therapist and camp director. The best part of the whole week for me is the reactions, excuse me, and smiles from the kids when they realize what they are doing for the first time, combined with the joy, tears, and almost disbelief seen on so many parents' faces when they see their child really riding a bike on his own for the very first time. Last year, a parent said, "I have waited 11 years to see my son ride independently. Thank you for the priceless gift you have given to Nolan and our family." So today, we again want to express our sincere appreciation to John Knight, Lynn Bishop, Shelley, and all the staff at the Community Center for their very generous support, and present Shawnee County Parks and Recreation with the 2013 Community Organization Award for helping children with disabilities lose their training wheels. Teach them to ride, now see where they go. Thank you.
Cheryl or Lynn, do you have any comments?
I just would like to say that it's been, when Pam approached us, I talked with
And
Gary
Lynn,
Bertels
speak,
at the
or
time. Oh,
come to the
sorry.
podium so we can
Okay,
make sure we
thank you.
capture your voice.
Thank you. When Pam approached us, we were more than pleased to be part of this. It's been a great partnership for us, and it's an amazing, amazing program. And just to see the look on the kids' faces and all the wonderful volunteers, it's our pleasure to be part of this.
Okay, thank you.
So, thank you.
Thank you, Pam, for being here this morning as well. Next item.
Unfinished business, number 1, consider approval of resolution number 2013-190, establishing Shawnee County Commission districts.
Commissioners, this is the second reading of the resolution. I hate to lose any of my constituents, but I know that you will welcome them into your districts. Fact of the matter is, it's the law that we do this, and so with that, I'll move to adopt the resolution.
I'll second that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Bueller, second by Commissioner Archer. Anyone in the audience wanting to speak on this item? Hearing none, all those in favor, say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0.
Consent agenda.
Are there questions on the consent agenda? 6 items.
Motion to approve is presented.
Second.
So motion to approve by Commissioner Archer, second by Commissioner Cook. All in favor of the motion say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0.
New business, item A, County Clerk. Number 1, consider all voucher payments.
Madam Chair, this morning we have one set of vouchers dated December 18th, 2013, in the total amount of $922,456.59. My questions have been answered by the appropriate people, and I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
I will second the motion.
Thank you. There's a motion by Commissioner Archer, second by Commissioner Cook. Discussion. All in favor of the motion say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0.
Number 2, consider correction orders.
Move approval of that big stack of correction orders. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor of the motion say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries.
Number 3, consider resolution numbers 2013-193 through 2013-195 for cereal malt beverage licenses for Hague Inc., DBA TJ's Express, located at 5305 Southwest Topeka Boulevard, Hague Inc., DBA Seaman 66, located at 4206 North Topeka Boulevard, and Ju Quin Tang LLC, DBA Chrysler Asian Diner, located at 4731 Northwest Hunter's Red Circle, including Sunday sales.
All the background information, all the checks, everything was approved?
Yes.
And no issues.
I'll make a motion to approve the multiple resolutions.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Archer, second by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries.
Item B, Parks and Recreation. Number 1, public hearing regarding the future of Forbes Golf Course.
At
Good morning,
this
Commissioners.
time, we'll open the public hearing, and Mr. Knight, go ahead.
Good morning, Commissioners. John Knight, Parks and Recreation again. To bring those in the audience here up to speed, I'll give just a real brief history of what got us to where we are today. Back in 1975, when the military was out at Forbes Field, they pulled out of Forbes Field. And when they left this community, one of the programs that the federal government had was the Federal Lands to Parks program, the Shawnee South Community Park, which includes Forbes Golf Course. Plus, there are several other parks within Topeka and Shawnee County which are part of that program, one of those being Felker Park as well. That land was deeded over to Shawnee County and/or City of Topeka at that time. What came along with those, the transfer of deeds, was a deed restrictions that had always had to be used for parks and recreational purposes. And to get that approved, way back when I was still in grade school, somebody put together a program of utilization that was approved by the National Park Service for that use, and that included Forbes Golf Course. So as I began the process of trying to reduce the services and the cost to operate Parks and Recreation, one of the areas that I looked at was Forbes Golf Course. To change that from golf course to another use would require a change and approval from the federal government, the National Park Service, of the program of utilization. They suggested we hold public hearings to have the public come in, make comments as to what they would like to see the future property used for, if not golf. We've held a meeting last week at the Shawnee South, or Velma K. Parish Community Center. We held one last night at the advisory board. We have gotten some input from other residents as to what they believe might be possible good uses of this facility. I will say that this process very recently has brought about another proposal that also involves golf to some degree. I think that this proposal is intriguing enough that at this time, I think it deserves further investigation. I've been talking a lot with Commissioner Archer regarding this topic, and I think that possibly coupled with some fee increases, maintenance reductions, maybe there's a possibility that the revenues or the subsidy for that golf course could be lessened. But I'm not able to stand here right now and tell you that that's a for sure. What I can tell you is I think it might need some further investigation. But we've already started this process. This is the third of the public hearings. I think it's important that we have these public hearings because what the people of the Topeka and Shawnee County say about their parks is important. And I think there are some people here today who'd like to speak about that.
Sure.
I'll be here for any other questions or anything else you'd like.
Okay, thank you, John. Any questions for John at this point?
Not at this point.
No. Anyone wanting to speak on this item, please approach the front and come to the podium. And please state your name, and then please make your comments to the commission.
Thank you. My name is Bill Lays, and I'm a resident of Shawnee County. I speak only for myself. I had sent each of the commissioners an email. I got a response from two of you. Thank you very much. I just want to point out several things, some of the obvious things that keep, I am of the opinion that we should keep the golf course operational as it is, functioning as a full-service golf course. Some of the obvious things that could be done have already been pointed out, first of which is increasing the green fees. I talked to the golf course yesterday, and they told me it's $7 for 9 holes for senior, $9 for 18 holes for senior. Consider increasing those. Those are a steal at that price. Second is the golf cart fees. Again, those are really a bargain for the current prices. And then I'd like to throw out one other thing is maybe a couple things that this train's going down the track pretty fast. I'd like to see it stopped, take a year, step back, and see what other sources of funding that we can perhaps get. Are there corporate sponsors that would be interested in helping with funding of the golf course? You can name whoever, Goodyear Golf or Friends of Forbes or whatever the case may be. But at least take into consideration some other options before we bolt the course down and say you're closed for golf. Finally, without taking any more of your time, I want to point out that Forbes is a unique golf course, a unique facility, because it is a 9-hole course. And people like me who come out and walk 9 holes, the second part is it's flat. And it's easy to walk. It's not like some of the other 2 public courses in town. And third, and I think most important, are the greens. Those greens at Forbes are some of the best in the city, if not the best in the city. They were built by the Department of Defense, and they spared no dollars on them. I mean, they built them the right way. And I just think it'd be a shame to shut down. It's such a gem in our community. I just think it'd be a shame to shut it down. So with that, I'll conclude. If I answer any questions, I'll be happy to do so.
Thank you. Are there questions?
Just one. If we look at Forbes and looking at maybe opening it up more for high school, for schools to learn and have that as their course to really learn the game of golf, do you think there's going to be any problems with the younger players interacting with the senior players, or is that a benefit to the community?
In my opinion, it'd be a very good benefit for the community too. I mean, I had to learn how to play golf. I learned at Topeka Country Club carrying bags as a caddy. And somewhere you have to go to learn how to play golf. Why not Forbes? That'd be an excellent use of it, I would think.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for being here this morning. Anyone else?
Yeah, my name is Darrell Hattisaw. I'm president of the Seniors League out Forbes. And what we need to consider is, we got 125 members of seniors, and if you take Forbes Golf Course away, you're taking all their social, recreational activity away, because that's what they enjoy doing. And we have a tremendous turnout all the time on our tournaments and everything. And getting back to your question, it would be great to have high schools out there, because the seniors are going to play early in the morning. Your high schools and that and your schools will always play in the afternoon. So you get really good coverage in the morning and the afternoon both. So that's what we'd like. We think that you've gone really fast trying to close this. We need more time. Yes, we can increase the revenue and make it, and tie it in with Cypress and Lake Shawnee and make it profitable. Are all your softball diamonds, baseball diamonds, are they profitable? I don't think so. And pretty soon, in the next 5 years, softball and baseball fields are almost going to be a thing of the past, because soccer has taken over. Believe me, soccer is doing the good. So I would hope that you would consider at least another year to give us maybe where we can get some donations, whatever. We're willing to work with the county to keep this open. Any questions you have of me?
I do.
Not at this time.
Thank you
Okay,
very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioners, I'm Rick Fair, and I'm president of Great Life Golf and Fitness. About 2 years ago, we started hearing rumors that the YWCA was going to shut down, and they were losing $10,000 to $15,000 a month on their fitness and aquatics programs over there. And we went over and partnered with them and brought in some capital. Hopefully, a lot of people have seen what we've done there, really improved the facility. We're now operating in the black. We're benefiting the YWCA. Really proud of that effort. Had a couple conversations with John. He's been very receptive. We're just here to offer that if there's a win-win for us and for the county of Great Life, that we would be open to having those conversations. That also included, tying in some improvements at Cypress and stuff. Our mission is to enrich families through golf and fitness, and closing a golf course is just against our business model in general. Don't have a specific plan, but just say that, definitely at no cost to the city, would be willing to keep the facility open, or the county, and just be more than happy to talk to John about it.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions?
Just,
Commissioner Cook?
can you tell us how many golf courses in Shawnee County Great Life is currently managing?
Well, we just did a deal in Sioux Falls, so we're now at about 30 facilities, and we consider our Topeka market to be 5 18-hole golf courses, and then we have the YW also and some fitness centers.
Are any of them 9-hole courses?
Not in this market, but we have DeSoto, Junction City, one in Abilene, Ottawa. We have like 7 or 8 in our system, yes.
All right, thank you.
You bet. And we also partnered with the city of DeSoto. They had a closed golf course there that we completely reopened. So we worked with city and counties before, and like I said, we really appreciate the opportunity to do so again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Hi, Jeff Stromberg. I'd like to thank, first of all, everybody that's involved, because the golf courses here in Topeka have been very, very good to high school programs. Every golf course in the city. It's not like that in a lot of other cities. If we would happen to close Forbes, the good players are going to still have the opportunity to play, because they're Topeka Country Club members. They're members at country clubs. A lot of the varsity type players. The kids that are not going to, that would lose out would be the kids that are the JV type, that are just learning the game. And Forbes hosted a lot of JV tournaments throughout the years, girls and boys. A lot of our JV kids would practice out there when I was at Washburn Rural, and they still do. We saw Shawnee Heights out there, we saw Topeka High out there. Very beginning type players use Forbes a lot. It's a great golf course for kids that are beginning and seniors, because it is flat, like they mentioned, and easy to walk. So that particular thing would be a real loss for kids. Another one is the First Tee program. First Tee program, I've talked a lot the last 2 days. It's kind of came fast on me. Salina has a first tee that they actually built 6 extra holes on their municipal golf course through funding and private and other things. That wouldn't need to be done because Forbes has got the holes already that could be used by First Tee. There is another association, Wadsworth Golf Foundation, links across America that I found out about, that has just helped a golf course in Maryville, Missouri, where Northwest Missouri State is, and they're helping them do the same thing that they did at Salina with funds to help program that First Tee. They donated $250,000 to renovate some holes, but also to keep the program going with teachers and that type of thing for funding. So there are some things that can be done to help increase the revenue. And also, there's one other thing that we would like to bring to your attention is through donors, there is no hitting indoor-outdoor facility in the city of Topeka. K-State has one in Lawrence, Manhattan. There's one at Heston Public Golf Course. There's one at Wichita State. We would like to ask if we could try to raise money that would not cost you any money for an indoor-outdoor facility. That facility would be a building that would have to meet codes and everything of the city. You would set that. What had to be done as far as the look of it and anything, the size of it, those types of things. We would get individual booster donors that would pay for everything, and then we would use it from 1 to 3:30. The high school teams could use it during inclement weather from 3:30 when they get out of school till dark. And anybody that would like to have a membership or would like to pay for 30 minutes, and that money would actually go to the Forbes Golf Course. If you would sell 100 people $25 a month during the November, December, January, February months that are inclement usually around here, then those people could come out and hit balls out of our building that was donated through boosters in the morning time. They'd set times, and that money would go towards Forbes Golf Course. It wouldn't go towards Washburn University at all. So 100 people times $25 a month, that would be $10,000 that could go to Forbes. If it was an outside person that's not a member of Cypress or Lake Shawnee, as far as membership, then we could charge maybe $150 for that 4-month time frame. So we would still have people that not just members here, but Topeka Country Club or Great Life could come out and use the facility. And the only thing that would cost would be somebody to pick up the balls. If we rented it out to and had memberships, that's the only cost that it would be, is somebody to pick up the balls at minimum wage type thing. We could hire our golf kids to do it very cheaply. And if the balls that we hit, as far as our team, we would pick those balls up. It would just be the person, the time that outside people would hit balls would be any cost at all. The range balls that would be bought, all of that would be through private donations through Washburn University.
Interesting.
Thank you.
Just
very
tried to figure out something to maybe
Yeah.
bring some income into.
It's an option, it's an option, yeah. All right. Thank you. Any questions?
much. No, some great ideas and
Yep,
Okay,
thank you.
thank you.
My name's Sam Hargis. I wasn't planning to speak, so this is kind of off the cuff, but I appreciate you having the open forum and hearing this. I want to emphasize a couple of things that have already been said and add to them. One is Forbes complements the existing other two public courses. It doesn't really compete with them. And a good analogy is ski slopes. That's the beginner slope. That's not the black or the black diamond. And a lot of the people that play at Forbes they don't really want the Cypress Ridge or the Lake Shawnee. They need the flat, the simple. And it's great for beginners and old golfers. It is really tailored to the seniors. And like myself, my back is so bad, I'm not sure how long I'm going to be able to keep playing. And I'm hurting today from trying to walk the back nine yesterday at Shawnee. It's just too hilly. And that is really a physical handicap. And Forbes has a unique feature in that it's a handicap course. Literally, it's the only one in the city that you can put a handicap placard on your cart and drive right up next to every green. And we've got a lot of old people in the seniors league that's what they have to do. They are not mobile enough to handle a regular course. They love Forbes. That's their outing. It's their exercise. You know, it's a fitness program. It's not a frill. It's the only thing that gets them out of the house. And the other thing is, because Cypress Ridge and Shawnee are paying through a lot of corporate events where the course is basically leased out for the day, Forbes is the overflow. When the public can't go to those courses on those nice weekend days when they're tied up, people show up and they say, well, you can't play today, the course is closed, we're having a tournament. Well, they can go somewhere else. They go to Forbes. They can get in. A couple of ideas. You know, there are 6 other 9-hole courses within 40 miles of Topeka that are all managing to make it without losing money. You know, there's Overbrook, there's Vassar, there's Pomona, there's Osage City, there's Holton, there's St. Mary's. You know, there's got to be a way to do it because they're all doing it. But one of the things is we keep trying to, we have a fee schedule at Forbes like an 18-hole course. It's not an 18-hole course, it's a 9-hole course. There's no reason the second 9 should be any cheaper than the first 9. If we're going to have that many people walking that many holes, we should make that much money off of it. And it is ridiculously cheap. You could raise the rates easily. But most of the seniors only want to play 9 holes. That's why you don't need, you know, a cheap option for another 9. It just ties up the course where you could be renting it to someone else. Another thing is you have a conference room, a large meeting room there that I've never seen rented out for private events. That would be another income option. These are just, you know, some things to think of. But it's not competing. It's the beginners and old folks course. And if we lose that, a lot of these people are going to have to hang up their clubs. And I hate to see that there are so many people on fixed income, retirees that can just barely play. And that's their event. They love it. That's when they get out and see their friends, their old working buddies, their Santa Fe retirees, the state government employee, ex-county commissioners. You know, it serves a purpose that the other ones don't. And I'd really like you to consider that. That's really all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here this morning.
Hi, thanks for the opportunity to be here. My name is Stacy Kramer. I'm the president of the Topeka Golf Association. I really just want to echo sentiments that I agree with the previous comments. Forbes is a unique course. I played there in high school and golf meets when I went to Topeka West, and I played there recently as well. They do have a great men's club. From our perspective, we want our golfers to have as many options as possible. Certainly, you're not going to see any new golf courses built. And those greens, I would agree with that comment about how well they were built. And once they're gone, and that's a huge capital investment that would be hard to replace. So really, I won't waste your time. I know you get a lot on your agenda, but from our perspective, Topeka Golf Association would like to see as many options as possible and appreciate your time. Thanks. Yes.
Madam Chair,
Sure.
I just have one question. as the representative of the Topeka Golf Association, you might have a little bit better global view than some of that we do. If we look at your membership, if the Forbes course was to raise its rates, which has been mentioned several times as a way of making up that difference, and also talking about how seniors are on fixed incomes, and this is their exercise or their only outlet, if we raise the rates, are we going to be pushing any seniors out of the game?
Well, I think this gentleman agreed that probably a nominal increase would be legitimate. I think they would appreciate probably a few more dollars as opposed to no option at all.
Okay.
So certainly I can't speak for them, but I think that would be a good viable alternative, so.
But your view would be the membership of the Topeka Golf Association would be able to handle some raise of the
You bet.
rates?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Elmer Robinson, I'm with the First Tier Shawnee County Community Action. I don't really have anything additional to add regarding the use of the course. Obviously, there's a lot of folks out there that will miss out with the course closure. I would like to add, we have a program called the National School Program that we just implemented last fall in the school district in the elementary schools. It's our goal to cover every elementary school here in the city. One of the transitions is once those youth participate within the school, they need to be transitioned to a golf course. We had about 3,500 kids so far that have been exposed in the elementary schools. That number will increase. Losing Forbes is losing an opportunity to teach folks about the game of golf, expose them to some of the life skills that are essential to the game and essential to what we all do in our everyday lives. So with that being said, I'd like you to consider the fact that we are going to take that away from some of those kids, and it's a large number of kids that would miss out. We also have a 15-year use agreement, as you all know, with the county. There's about 8 years, I believe, 7 or 8 years left on that. So, we've already established that relationship and would love to keep it going. It's been vital to what we've done, and you've all been supportive in the past, and hope you'll continue to be supportive and consider these proposals.
Thank you. All right, anyone else? This is our last public hearing officially, but my guess is we'll continue to have at least one other discussion on the agenda, that the commissioners will have discussion. But I'm going to check in with you. Is there anyone else who wants to make any comments at this time? Okay. I'll move to close the public hearing. Just for discussion purpose, just to close the
Okay.
public hearing. And I know there's going to be more discussion, but I'll make that motion first to close the public hearing
I'll
at this
second.
time. Second by Commissioner Archer. But before we take a vote on closing it, my guess is, John, where are you? We haven't seen a summary of all the public hearings that you've had. You've had a total of 3. My thoughts would be that you put together a summary of all those hearings and then come back, meet with your staff, and come back with some recommendations to the commission, possibly short-term and long-term, as a matter of how we discuss this going forward. But commissioners, I'm certainly open to suggestions.
If I
Commissioner
may, and I looked at the weather forecast for this weekend, and I would suggest nobody get a tee time.
Yeah, maybe not.
We've given John a very, very difficult task. We've told him to cut $1.5 million out of his budget. So I think it's important to realize that he has a very difficult task. And the truth is that golf in Topeka is inexpensive. It's a great deal. I think going forward, we need to consider increasing green fees and cart fees at Cypress and at Lake Shawnee. I've spoken to John over the past week or so about a plan that we could keep Forbes open at least for this year. It may require increases in green fees, it may increase cart fees, it may be more limited as far as the number of tee times we can get, but I think it's important for two reasons. Number one, it will give the golf community and the men's league at Forbes an opportunity to look at perhaps sponsorships to do better. And number two, it will give us an opportunity to look at the strategic plan that our consultant is going to give us in the middle of this year. Because we don't know what that plan is, but we're spending a lot of money for an expert to tell us some of the options that we have over the next 5 years, 10 years, and 20 years for Parks and Rec in Shawnee County. So I just want to say that I'm trying to work with Mr. Knight in an effort to keep Forbes Golf going, and I hope we'll be able to do that, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Yes.
Madam Chair, thank you.
I want to thank Commissioner Archer for calling me Mr. Light. Light is the first time, that's the first time I've ever been called Light.
Well, I'll try not to repeat it. So, Madam Chair, likewise, I've been talking with John Knight extensively about other uses for Forbes, looking at maybe partnering with collegiate, high school, middle school, elementary, to really use the Forbes to the best of its abilities. One of my primary concerns, Commissioners, is, as it's been repeated, that all of this came about very quickly for the public, and I think that it caught a lot of the public off guard as to how quickly it evolved. And I would ask that maybe we take a step back, we look at what our options are instead of rushing into it. But as Commissioner Archer pointed out, we have given John a very difficult task, and we've put him in a very difficult position where he has to make decisions that have to make, immediate impact as we enter into 2014. But I would ask that before we take any final action, that we have appropriate public notice. The public has the ability to add input, offer other ideas. There's been some excellent ideas offered today, and I think maybe we need to take a step back and look at some of those ideas before we take action.
Well, and we also need to keep in mind the restrictions on the property as well, correct?
Yes.
As we go forward on this, so. Okay, so I'm hearing consensus then that John will come back to the commission to provide a summary, and then we will need to provide direction to him as to what those actions will be.
Yes.
In the meantime, I do know that this, the weather forecast for this weekend is not golf friendly, but this is Kansas, and we're likely to turn right back around and be 75 degrees the next weekend after that. I do not have a contractor on staff to run the course after January 1. With your permission, I'd like to talk with Austin, the Lake Shawnee Golf Management Team, about continuing the previous contract for a few months and get that approval here today, and then I'll come back down to you with some type of signed agreement. That way we have that open. We have not canceled our golf cart contract yet. We have laid off the maintenance workers who work there. However, these next few months are not heavy grass growing months, and I think we'll be able to, for several months, maintain. So with that, with your permission, I would like to sit down with him and extend his contract.
And you can have that to us before the end of the year. I mean, we have 2 meetings left, the 23rd and the 30th. You can have that contract extension possibly
I can.
to
All
us.
Austin has to do is agree with my terms.
Madam Chair, John, and I know from prior discussions, Forbes is actually on a different cycle than Cypress Ridge and Lake Shawnee.
It is.
And so we are actually at a spot where if you were not considering an alternative action for Forbes, this would be going out for a request for proposal for any other management structure.
True.
And so we're at a spot to maybe we're looking at just having an interim contract with Austin and his organization. And so that if you were to take action of not repurposing Forbes, it would be going out for request for proposal or some other.
Likely, yes.
Okay. Just want to make sure. So if there are other entities that maybe have an interest in the management structure, they should be contacting you.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Commissioners.
And we need to vote on closing the public hearing. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you all for being here this morning, and go to our website to see our agendas. Those are posted. We meet twice a week, and so those are streamed live as well, if you care to watch. If you could just leave quietly, we'll get on with the rest of our business. If you want to leave, I guess. Okay, go ahead.
Number 2, consider approval of a request to transfer funding from the Parks and Recreation Building Maintenance Fund to the Parks and Recreation operating budget for payment of purchases and repairs in an amount of $128,111.40.
Commissioners, John Knight again, Parks and Recreation. I've been visiting with Betty Greiner about Audit Finance Department. As the year winds down, the expenditures are getting very, very tight to making sure that we balanced at the end of the year. I noticed that there were several items that probably should have been coded to the building maintenance fund rather than the general operating funds. And after talking with her, Betty suggested the best way to do this, since you'd already approved the funding from a different fund, was to come down here in front of you and transfer these and pay these out of the building maintenance fund. Be happy to answer any other questions you may have.
Thank you, John. Other questions?
Motion to approve the request.
I'll second, but just noting these are not new expenses. We're
No.
just reclassifying them.
Correct, yes.
So motion by Commissioner Archer, second by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries.
Number 3, consider authorization and execution of contract C 602-213 with J.B. Turner and Sons Roofing and Sheet Metal for roof repairs to various buildings at the Kansas Expo Center in an amount not to exceed $498,800 to be paid by insurance with a $10,000 deductible to be paid by Shawnee County.
Commissioners, I would just like to amend the written item in front of you to say that the deductible would be paid from general expense rather than the Shawnee County Building Maintenance Fund. This is an expense, as it says, for the Kansas Expo Center. Generally, that's where expenses like this have come from. Be happy to answer any other questions you may have. And I have visited with Betty Greiner regarding that topic. And
Motion to approve the contract.
So motion by Commissioner Archer?
Second.
Or motion by Commissioner Cook, I apologize. Second by Commissioner Archer.
Compliment to me, detriment to him.
All
I don't think so.
All in favor of the motion say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0.
Number 4, consider approval to submit a grant application to the Kansas Department of Health and Environment Waste Tire Grant Program for funding to replace or install new pour-in-place rubber playground surfaces throughout the park system with an estimated match by Shawnee County of $37,500.
Commissioners, the estimate is that the largest grant ever handed out for this has been $75,000, so a 50% match would be $37,500. Our needs greatly exceed that. There are playgrounds all over this community in which the fall zones need to be changed over to this rubber material. This is one way that we can have more money available and be able to get more done in less time. Be happy to answer any other questions you may have. And it's a good recycling effort as well.
You have a question?
Well, and this is a safety issue.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, I don't know that you emphasized that.
I
enough, John.
probably didn't.
Yeah, I think it's an
apologize.
important safety issue, and I'm glad we can partner, and so I'll make a motion to approve the submission of the grant application.
So motion by Commissioner Archer.
I'll second, but I'll also note that this was kind of brought forth by Stephanie Mott from our grant application, and so she's been able to kind of help us, and so in recognition of the efforts of Stephanie in looking out for the county where we can maybe have that grant applications.
Shortly after receiving notice from Stephanie, also Joan Graves from the recycling department also called with that too, so that
Good.
the Shawnee County team is looking out for each other very well, so.
Yeah.
As expected. There was a second by Commissioner Cook. All in favor of the motion say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0.
Number 5, consider authorization and execution of contract C 603-2013 with Dean's Lawn Care, Inc. for snow removal at the courthouse, $950 for 5 lots, snow removal at the health agency, $360 for 4 lots. Snow removal at the Health Agency building on California, $195 for 1 lot.
Commissioners, this item was before you earlier. On November the 25th, this was approved, and the request of the commission was, since the previous agreement was through bid specification, that this commission asked that we get this in writing into contract form. That's what you have in front of you here today. Please sign it, because it's supposed to snow this weekend.
Go, John. Are there questions? I'll make a motion to approve the contract. Is there
I'll
a second?
second.
Second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0.
Number 6, consider approval of request to waive the purchasing resolution and consider authorization and execution of contract C-604, 2013 with Quick Scores for 3 years for unlimited use of Quick Scores website, software support, communication features, and league and tournament scheduling at a cost of $4,500 per year.
Commissioners, this is a software program that is used by our athletics division. A couple years ago, before we merged, I believe both departments, the City of Topeka and the Shawnee County Parks and Rec, probably did this on using separate methods, some of it even by the old-fashioned way of tablets and things. As we began to merge, a need arose to have a centralized program in which that we could more efficiently get out the information to the public and coordinate all the activities that are going on within our athletics division. We immediately sat down with Pat Oblander, and him and his staff they have every intention of helping us, but their plate is also very full. And as we've talked with them, they've also suggested that they've looked at this program. They concur. This is actually probably a pretty good expense. This would extend this for 3 more years. And as of right now, we have almost no complaints about this software program. It's been a big help to us. Be happy to answer any other questions you may have.
Thanks, John. Questions?
No, a motion to approve.
So motion to approve by Commissioner Cook.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor of the motion say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. I'd like to keep you up there just a minute, if that's okay.
Okay.
I'm coming in defense of the Parks and Recreation Department. Taken quite a bit of heat lately from a number of sources. And I'm looking at you, and I'm also looking at the back of the room, because you have a very dedicated staff. But you've all been put in a very difficult situation, as it's been mentioned. In the future, we have a good bit of work to do on the budget still for 14. And my hope is that we reinvest in 15 for dollars for Parks and Recreation. I think it's critical. But I also think we're dealing with a good bit of deferred maintenance that was part of the agreement, and we knew full well about that. But you are in neighborhoods, you are doing work. Maybe it needs a little fine-tuning, but we are responding to a good bit of work that we have to do in all different neighborhoods, all different parks throughout Shawnee County. So just wanted to say that at this time before your staff gets back to work. So commissioners, do you have any comments?
The only additional comment I would have, I think, John, you shared with the commissioners earlier this week that over the last year, for items that were part of your building maintenance or equipment maintenance, 62% was directly related to properties that we had received from the City of Topeka.
Correct.
And so I think that when it comes to criticism from city council members that say that we aren't doing our fair share, I'd like to point back to say we have reinvested heavily into properties that we received from the City of Topeka, and that we are maintaining them at levels that are far above where we received them. And so we are making that direct reinvestment in protecting and preserving our properties. So thank you very much, John, for your work.
Pass that on to the staff that's responsible for having that happen.
Commissioner Archer?
And, yeah, I agree. I think the consolidation has gone well. It's been difficult. I disagree with the chair. I don't think we realize the extent of deferred maintenance and neglect.
It's being kind.
And lack of funding on Parks and Rec assets. I don't think that's true at all. Mr. Knight may disagree, but I don't think that's true at all, and I don't.
You can say that because you were with the city,
Yeah.
so, okay.
Yeah, no, the Parks and Rec from the city was on a downward path.
Mhm.
There was not a priority for Parks and Rec. The city's priorities were police, fire, road maintenance, believe it or not, water and sewer, and Parks and Rec was way down the list. Parks and Rec is a big priority for Shawnee County, and we're doing a good job. We're doing a good job. I don't want to, well, I'm not going to say anything more, but it irritates me when people are misinformed and make comments that are misinformed. So, thank you, Madam Chair. I hate to
Sorry.
get fired up.
Yeah, sorry.
It is the holiday season.
Well,
I apologize.
we have a very dedicated department, and a good leader and a great staff, and so I don't want you all to get, disappointed or, I think we still need to charge through all the decisions still that we have to make. Don't get discouraged. We appreciate all you do. So
There's hard decisions made by the county commission as well. It's not just happening to be Parks and
we
Recreation.
volunteer for this position.
So did I.
Yeah, right.
I want to thank all three of the commissioners for their comments. I'll take that back to the staff. That's
Please.
Yep.
probably a very good motivation thing going into the next year, because they have worked very hard to try to do as much as they can with what they're given. I will say that we're not perfect, and we intend to strive to communicate better with people so that they know what's going on, and you just know that our direction is for the betterment of all the parks, whether they're former city or county parks. We're working toward improving all of them.
Right.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
And you have a Merry Christmas.
You too. Next item, please.
Item C, Sheriff's Office. Number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C-605, 2013 with Rick Ladke for maintenance services at the Sheriff's Office Range and Training Center in an amount of $1,800 a month for the years 2014 and 2015.
Good morning.
Good morning, Sheriff.
Herman Jones here, Shawnee County. This contract deals with just renewal of a contract we've had for the training facility we have down south of town there. It involves everything from inside, outside, and to keep it in good shape, running, and as efficient as possible. So that's what we have right there.
And the source of the funds to pay is what?
This comes from forfeiture money as far as the operation costs. As we know, when the facility was built, it was built off of forfeiture money, and all those that maintain that comes from the same fund.
Concerns, questions?
No. Motion to approve the contract with Rick Latke for the maintenance at the facility.
There's a motion by Commissioner Cook.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries.
Number 2, consider authorization and execution of contract C-606, 2013 with Robert Mosier for commission on accreditation for law enforcement agencies, CALEA, consulting services at a cost of $295 per day for the years 2014 and 2015.
As well, with this contract here, it's an extension or just another carryover renewal. Rob Mosier is a consultant that we have come in like once a month or so that goes through our files. And again, it ties right into CALEA, which gives us the best practices to make sure that we're staying above board, policies and general orders and what have you there. I got to believe that because of his efforts as well as our staff, dedicated staff, it puts us into a range where we are considered one of the flagships of our performance, what we do.
And that is, those expenses are paid with the Special Law Enforcement Trust funds,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Just read that for the record. Questions? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion
Second.
by Commissioner Archer, second by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0.
Number 3, consider authorization and execution of contract C-607, 2013 with Chaplain John Hanson for counseling services at a cost of $500 per month for the years of 2014 and 2015.
This contract comes in as well as a renewal. It's Chaplain Hanson, who basically acts as a peer support for our employees through issues that we deal with, whether it's through work or personal. As well, one of the key, duties is when we go to make death notifications to the public. We have the chaplain along with the deputy goes there, so it becomes a good consulting, a sounding board for our folks as well as inside as well as outside. So.
Move approval of the contract. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor of the motion say aye, opposed no. Motion carries 3-0. And
Thank you.
very nice vigil service this week for the 2 officers.
Yes, very nice. We really appreciate, particularly on our side, because of that union that we have between the law enforcement agencies of the Topeka Police Department and Sheriff. I really wanted to thank the community for their support during this tragic time, or just at least for the anniversary of what we've dealt through. It wasn't just the police department, it wasn't just sheriff, it was this community that dealt with that. And just to see that continued support means a lot for the law enforcement officers. So,
Very good.
on another note, since we're piling on with John Knight, I'd like to pile on as well as showing my gratitude, at least for our agency's gratitude. Not long ago, we have a kind of a park bench, or kind of I'm trying to take a table and bench that we have for our communication workers that they use for a break when they go outside, just kind of get away and those type of things. And over the years, it's weather deteriorating, its use and what have you. And from that, then looking to make a purchase of that, I think it was someone that made an idea of just call Parks and see what they could do. So if they had something that we could buy or what have you. They took that on, they took it over there, revamped it, cleaned it up, shined it up. It's just brand new. And that's just, again, when we talk about that cooperation within the organizations of this county, great gratitude goes to Parks and Recs, in particular for John Knight for his leadership. So.
Good job. Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you.
Item D, Public Works Solid Waste. Number 1, consider approval of a revised project budget from a total of $2,939,000 to $2,210,029 for the Northwest 46th Street and Rochester Road intersection project.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tom Blank with Public Works and Solid Waste. This is a Public Works item. And while the overall news of this item is good in that we want to reduce the budget from $2.9 million to $2.2 million, the main reason this is on the agenda is because of the request to change the funding sources. And the reason, or how we got here from where we were back when the budget was initially approved, there were several fairly major things that have occurred since then. Back in April of 2010, when the $2.9 million budget was approved, we have give you a little bit of background on how we determine where the funds are going to come from. Each year we develop a 5-year plan for our capital improvements program, and we submit that to the state, and they in turn send us a letter each year that says this is what your federal allocation will be for federal funds. Back in 2010, in February of 2010, that amount was about $2.4 million, is what we'd indicated, or had been indicated to us we'd be receiving each year for federal funds to go towards projects. Since then, that number has been being reduced, actually quite substantially. This last year, we got notification that that number had then been reduced. It went from like 2.4 to 1.8 to 1.5. This year, 800,000. That was where our planning or funding was going to come from, was from those resources. So that threw quite a kink into what we had planned to do as far as our funding was going to, where it was going to come from. So we went back in our department and looked at different options of where we would be able to fund this program or this project. Additionally, with this project going at 46th and Rochester, there's also a project from the sales tax program at 46th and Topeka Boulevard that was on the schedule. we had some discussions with some contractors, and they indicated to us that if you combine the two projects and bid them, that you would have a substantial savings. So that's what we did as far as bidding them together, although they're going to be separated from a financial standpoint, because one portion, the 46 in Topeka, is being paid for by sales tax. The 46 in Rochester is going to be paid for from local funds or federal funds. So while we will be treating them separately from a financial standpoint and accounting standpoint, bidding them together, in our opinion, has drastically reduced the cost. And we recently took bids on those projects here last week. We have had quite favorable bids. So by being able to reduce the total project by combining the bids, that's reduced the amount of cost that we need to find from other sources to fund it. So we went back, and knowing that the amount we were going to get from the federal funding has been drastically reduced, we looked at some other funds. There's some other projects that have come in under the budget that we've already completed, and there's and those being they're like three different projects. And then also the commission has historically allotted to the department a $650,000 allotment to go towards projects like this. So we'll be looking to use some of those funds, the remaining funds from the projects that have been completed, that we completed under budget. And then also, we've been saving, putting some money aside in preparations for Carlson Road Bridge, or rather the Willard Bridge, at some point, and we'd like to reallocate some of those dollars towards this project to complete it. So, with that said, that is really what this is about, is just to reduce the budget, but also get approval to change the funding sources for this project. So if there's any questions regarding this, I'd be happy to try to answer them.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Mr. Vlock, does this change the timeline for the 46th in Rochester?
No, this project will begin in March and should be completed, I believe in November is when we have it slated. Although we will be doing them in two different phases, but the whole project, the two projects combined as one, will not change the schedule.
Okay.
Questions?
Madam Chair, I would move that we revise the project budget as requested.
It's a motion by Commissioner Cook.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Archer. The reason I'm pausing is because it's taking dollars away from that Willard Bridge, and I know that that's a county bridge, and we have to replace it at some point in time. So we're kicking the can down the road a little bit here, but we have to figure out how we're going to pay for that bridge. Whether that's
The one thing I will say, and I agree, the one thing I will say is the 46 in Rochester is a project that we know is going to happen.
I know.
The Willard
yeah.
Bridge,
It's
we are hopeful.
we're closer than we ever have been, but we still need to find $24
Right.
million to replace it, correct?
Yes.
Yes, so that dilemma is not going away.
It's true.
It's just not, but I understand what you're saying, Tom. We don't have any options. Okay. All those in favor of the motion say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0.
Number 2, consider change order number 2 final to contract C 29-2013 to reflect a decrease of $40,039.56 for the Southeast 45th Street, South Topeka Boulevard to Southeast Adams project.
Commissioners, Tom Block again, Public Works and Solid Waste. This too is a Public Works item. The first portion of the Southeast 45th Street project, which the whole project is going to be from Topeka Boulevard out to California. First phase consisted of this portion from Topeka to Adams that has now been completed. Final quantities have been submitted, and the contract amount for that first portion is being reduced, as mentioned, and is a decrease in the amount of $40,039.56. Is our recommendation that this change order be approved. And if there's any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer them.
Move approval.
Second.
Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor say aye, opposed no. Motion carries 3-0.
Number 3, consider approval of request to reimburse the JADO Sales Tax Roadway Project Fund account with unused roadway improvement funds an amount of $85,459.09.
Again, Tom Black with Public Works and Solid Waste. And again, this is a Public Works item. As you're familiar with, as part of the JADO organization, there is a subcommittee called the JADO Finance Committee, which is comprised of the Public Works directors from both the county and the city, and also the finance directors from the county and the city. And essentially, we are tasked with essentially just administering funds to we're to administer the funds that come in from the sales tax and get them to the appropriate entities as approved by the voters in the bond referendum, whether it be to go Topeka or for the Topeka Boulevard Bridge bonds and for the roadway, bridge, and infrastructure projects. From the county side, we administered several of the projects, and the city is administering several of the projects. We have completed several of our projects, and as we go along, we make requests for sales tax funds to be able to approve for construction and design as we go along. We make requests, the county typically makes requests in like a 3-month increment ahead of time by getting estimates of what we think from information from our design consultants and from our contractors of what the cash flow will be for those projects. So we make requests on a 3-month increment so that we have the funds available when pay invoices come due. So now that several of these projects are completed, we've gone back and done a reconciliation of those projects, and have determined that the amount that we requested initially and had received, total, we actually received $85,459.09 more than what the actual final cost came in at. So, in discussions with our finance director, Ms. Greiner, we are just making this, presenting to you that we have that amount of monies that need to go back into the JADO sales tax funds, and that is just what the request here is before you today.
Okay, thank you, Tom.
Make a motion to approve the request.
Motion by Commissioner Archer.
I would second, but I do have one question.
Sure.
Tom, how does that interact with the approval that we just did on 45th Street? Would that be then coming down the road? Is that a separate, is the money from the 45th Street from Topeka to Adams that we had $45,000 or $40,000 that was unused?
Yeah, that is a separate just project fund.
Okay.
These funds, these $85,000 will go back into, I guess, what I call the global sales tax fund. That's really, it's really not the county's money. It's everyone's money, for lack of a better term. So this will go back into it, and then, for instance, and then we could potentially pull this back out to pay for 45th Street next year, or 46th in Topeka, or city's upcoming 21st in Twin Urish and Indian Hills. So it's going back in, then it will come back out to pay for those projects.
So just because it's going in right now doesn't mean that it's just being held as other projects are being completed?
Correct.
All right.
There was motion by Commissioner Archer and a second by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye, opposed no. Motion carries 3-0.
Number 4, consider approval of resolution numbers 2013-196 to 2013-198, authorizing the transfer of unobligated public works operating budget funds into the special bridge fund, the special road and bridge machinery or equipment fund, and the special highway improvement fund.
Commissioners, Tom Black again with Public Works and Solid Waste, and this too is a Public Works item. As you're aware, our department, when we budget for our bridge department, we essentially budget for labor and a very minimal amount of materials. And historically, at least as long as I've been here, and I believe prior to my being here, we have done it that way in anticipation of funds that are unused in the Public Works Department for a given year then being allocated to these special accounts to be used for the funding of the remaining amounts of what the Bridge Department does. There's a state statute that allows county commissions to transfer up to 25% of a public works budget into these special accounts. Then the amounts shown on these resolutions is the maximum it ever could be. It won't be that amount. That's just what the maximum it could be, 25%. If you took 1.9 million that's shown on these resolutions and took it times 4, that would give you what our budget was for 2013. But one reason we do this, and one reason I like doing it the way we're doing it as far as having a minimal budget for the Bridge Department and doing this at the end of the year, is that I always, as a director, always have to be aware of how am I going to fund the Bridge Department next year. So this essentially makes me be very frugal, because I've got to find, I'm really, all year long, I'm looking for or making sure we've got funds that we're going to be appropriate to fund the Bridge Department for the following year. Whether or not that's, a great way to do it, it's up for debate, but I personally, I can tell you, it really makes you be frugal. Because when you are not sure how you're going to fund a certain department based on what you spend that given year, it makes you think long and hard about certain purchases. Mm-hmm. So anyway, it's worked well in the past, and here again, requesting that these resolutions be approved. They have had discussions with Ms. Reiner regarding this, and also the Counselor's Office has reviewed these resolutions as to form and legality. So with that, I would stand for questions regarding this.
Are there any questions?
Motion to approve the resolutions.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Cook.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0. Thanks,
you.
Tom.
Item E, Health Agency. Number 1, consider authorization and execution of Contract C 608-2013 for professional services with the Inline Group for purposes of marketing and recruiting for the medical director for the health agency at a cost not to exceed $10,000.
Good morning, Commissioners. Alice Weingartner, Shawnee County Health Agency. This request is before you, as Cindy stated, for the purposes of trying to fill our medical director position. We continue to use the mechanisms in place that the county has through our local means, but we're looking for a way to more broadly promote this particular position. At the request of Commissioner Archer, we did check with some local vendors as well. They just don't work with this level of employee, and so they had made the recommendation to using a placement or recruiting agency as well, and so we're bringing this forward. Just as an FYI, I kind of counted on one hand the number of medical directors that I've been exposed to in my time with the health agency, and we're probably at 5 or 6. And so knowing that this position is such a critical position to us, I want to make sure that we use the resources we have available to us to really find the best qualified candidate for us. This is a different way than how we've practiced before. It does require a pretty significant investment, but I think getting the word out there of our organization and what we do, I think will be really important and hopefully successful for us. So I'd be happy to answer any other questions.
Thank you, Alice. Are there questions?
No,
Commissioner
this is a search firm, I think it's out of Texas.
Correct.
I talked
Yes.
to Alice about it and asked her, if we had local personnel agency that could do this for us, and I appreciate the fact that you did check into that, because we always want to stay local whenever possible, and I appreciate that. I'll make a motion to approve the request.
It's a motion by Commissioner Archer.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries 3-0.
Number 2, consider authorization and execution of Contract C 609-2013 with BKD LLP for preparation of the cost report at an approximate cost of $23,920.
Commissioners, this request is, again, to contract with BKD. We worked with them last year in doing the work of completing our cost report. We're required to complete and submit both Medicare and Medicaid cost reports by the end of May of each year. This contract price is slightly higher than what we paid the previous year. by about $745. And it is a service, it is a report we have to do, and we don't have the technical expertise internally to do this type of work, and they work closely with our finance staff, our clinical staff, and our auditing office if necessary, audit finance. I'd be happy to answer any other questions.
No questions. I'll move approval of the contract.
And I'll second, Madam Chair, and
Yes.
this is an extremely complex report. I've talked to Allison about it in the past, and, boy, it's really something. So, but I'll second, I'm sorry.
All those in favor say aye, opposed no. Motion carries 3-0.
Number 3, consider authorization and execution of contract C-610-2013 with Dr. Lee Linewetter to provide medical director services at a cost of $2,250 per month.
Commissioners, this does tie back to item number 1. In order for us to fulfill our medical director needs, we are asking to continue maintaining a contract with Dr. Lee Linewetter for those services. And so that's why this request is before you, and I'd be glad to answer any other questions.
Thank you, Alice. Any
Motion to-
questions?
No, motion to approve the contract with Dr. Linewetter.
Motion
Second.
by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor say aye, opposed no. Motion carries 3-0.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Alice.
And just for the sake of, there's no Parks and Rec people here, but I thought I would, is there one? Oh, sorry, John.
Gloria.
I just want to also put in my 2 cents of my appreciation for Parks and Rec, because we too also got a bench at one of our centers, which has been greatly appreciated by the patients who come in and have to wait for rides or anything. So thank you, John, to you and your staff.
Item F, Register of Deeds. Number 1, consider approval of request to waive the purchasing resolution and consider authorization and execution of contract C-611-2013 with Imaging Office Systems for digital conversion of microfilm in an amount not to exceed $200,000 to be paid for with the Register of Deeds Technology Fund.
Good morning,
Good morning.
Becky Neosi, Register of Deeds. I didn't get a bench. so- No, we're very grateful for your services. Just wanted, if you'll indulge me for a few minutes, I know it's been a long morning. I've shared with you this project, and I'd like to share also with the public about our records management system. By statute, we record documents immediately, archive them, index them, and we're required to keep them permanently. It's been the ongoing work of our office to move our records to more of a digital format. Digital records are more flexible and they're permanent. You can view them online anywhere. It's been the long-standing practice to use microfilm, and we're required by statute to continue that at this point, so we'll continue that. But microfilm doesn't last forever, and we're seeing signs of deterioration on our microfilm. Just to give you a little bit of history, in 1973 we stopped saving paper copies. The only images we have in our office from 1973 to 2002 are on microfilm, and like I said, that's starting to deteriorate. In 1988, we did begin indexing, keeping a database of our documents as we recorded them in electronic format with index fields, but at that point, the technology wasn't there to start keeping images. We just have the indexing. And then in 2002, we did start, we had a program that was developed by the county to scan the images along with the searchable database. And then finally, this year, in 2013, we contracted with Fiddler Technologies to provide a recording system. With that recording system, we have a system called Laredo and Tapestry, and that is an online searchable database available to the public for a fee. Tapestry is actually a pay-per-use, and Laredo is a subscription. So, in summary, from 1855 to 2002, we have no images scanned in. So 150 years or so of images that's 2.7 million images. And from 1855 to 1988, we have no indexing. So if a searcher is wanting to find something, they must comb through the books by year to find what they're looking for if it's prior to 1988. It's a tedious process, And once they find what they're looking for, then they go to the microfilm, put it on the reel, look at it, make a copy or email it to themselves. We go back to the microfilm 10 to 20 times a day to retrieve documents. We have searchers that come in every day. We're facing the reality of the budget cut this coming year, so we lost a staff member, decreased our staff by 20%. We have a very small staff. And a majority of that retrieval was done by that staff member that we're losing. So this is a good time to make this step. And I've been examining this for 6 months, and you know, the deterioration is starting to scare me, so I'd like to get this done. We looked at several options, several different companies, several processes. We also looked at doing it in-house. We figured it would take 4 to 5 people approximately a year, if that's what they were doing 100% of their time. That would require me to train and manage those people, and that's not something that I would like to do because I think it would divert my attention. So what we think would be the best option would be to outsource this with a very cost-effective, practical way. Hire this team that specialize in projects like this, that do this all the time. We looked at imaging office systems. They know our systems because they've worked with us in the past on several different projects in other departments. So they know our systems, and if you have questions about that, I direct them to the IT department. We've been working with the IT department and looking at this, and also Amy Dolan is here from Imaging Office Systems if you have any questions for her. But basically they'll scan 2.7 million images, enhance them so they're good quality, index them, and then they'll ingest them into our Fiddler system that we have now, Laredo and Tapestry, which would be available in our office for us to use, and also available to the public. The public can come in for free and use it in our office, or they can pay the fee, a monthly fee or a pay-per-use fee, to do it online from home. Right now we have searchers that would be very happy to come, not have to come into our office and work from the comfort of their own home. It'll also make our document retrieval much faster and more efficient. Right now we're looking at ways to turn customers away. We have people that call us and ask us to make copies, and we can charge them a fee for that, but if we don't have the time to do it, we just have to turn them away and say, you have to come to the office and do it yourself. We don't have time, we don't have the staff. With this system, we will be able to say, we can do that in a matter of minutes. We can retrieve the documents, email them to you, and charge the copy fees. So, and also we should have more subscriptions to our monthly service and to our pay-per-use. So it'll be more revenue to the county and more customers. Imaging office systems will charge 6.4 cents per image. I estimated I've estimated around 2.7 million images. It's hard to count that high, so that's an estimate. So we figured it would be around $184,000 to $200,000, and that also will include the shipping fees of the microfilm and ingesting into our current system. And so I think this is a good step for our department to make our documents 100% digital and accessible to the public. Just want to point out that this will come from the technology fund. That is a $2 fund that we receive per document. That is a special fund only to acquire equipment, technological services for the storing, recording, archiving, retrieving, maintaining, and handling of data recorded or stored in the office. So no money will be used from the general fund. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Good explanation.
Oh,
Commissioner Archer?
yeah, thank you, Becky. My only question would be, did you work with our IT director in going forward with this project?
I did, and yes, and I worked with them all along the way.
Good deal.
Yes. I'll field that one for Becky. Yes, she did involve us very early on in the proceedings and ensured that she was taking the right path and looking at the appropriate solutions. And we did do a lot of collaborative work back and forth. And we're very comfortable that the arrangements that she's arrived at with Imaging Office Systems are the appropriate choice for the county at the right price point. There are options out there that are quite a bit less expensive. But this is something that you don't want to take chances with. You don't want to go with the cut rate vendors that can ship the images off-site, maybe to offshore locations, and then come back with a product that may or may not meet your needs. We don't want to go through that process and waste a lot of money. So we're comfortable that the research has been done and that the appropriate path has been taken. So we're very comfortable with what's going on. So
Good then.
if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer those.
I do not. Commissioner Cook, did you
I
have a
do
question?
have two questions for Ms. Niosi. The first is, as we take these documents and we send them off to be imaged or scanned, you still have the ability to access those records, even though they may not be physically within your office.
Yes, and we will still have a copy in our office. We will ship off our second copy. So we keep a second copy off-site in case there would be a fire in this building or some natural disaster. They also have provided three retrievals per day at no cost. If we are required to do more than that, there's a fee for that, right? Okay.
And then the second question, outside of, having this as for our preservation, what reason would a person have to go back 75, 100 years? I mean, who would be looking back that far?
If they're searching a title, they can go back that far. Sometimes they're doing it for genealogical purposes, to research family history. We have lots of people, lots of different reasons, why they do that.
Okay. And so this wouldn't be just for that, historical purposes. If you were buying a piece of land, a title company would be looking back.
Mhm.
And so this is something that would affect everybody in Shawnee County when they purchase real estate.
Yes.
Okay. And so that is why it's essential that we have those records preserved and have them in a format that we know is reliable.
And only from 1973 to 2002, is that microfilm that we're doing?
It's on microfilm. No, we'll go back all the
You'll
way to
be-
1855.
That's what I
Mhm.
kind of got
Yeah,
lost in there. But so it will be all those or all those records from that point in time. But in particular, the microfilm is deteriorating, right? So, okay.
From 1973, we don't have a paper backup
You don't have
copy.
paper, you just
So-
have microfilm.
Right,
Okay.
and so if that microfilm deteriorates,
Yeah.
we don't have anything.
Yeah,
Um,
okay.
And I know that the past Register of Deeds also looked into this and was moving in that direction. Our main priority last year was getting this fiddler system in place.
Sure.
And so this is the next logical step.
Okay, all right, thank you. Any further questions or comments?
Motion to,
Go ahead.
maybe motion to approve.
And wholeheartedly second.
There's a motion to approve by Commissioner Archer, second by Commissioner Cook. All in favor of the motion say aye, opposed no. Motion carries 3-0. And thank you both for sticking in with us till the very end of this meeting. I apologize. Thanks for being here this morning.
Item G, Financial Administrator. Number 1, update on expenditures and revenues.
Good morning, Betty Griner, Financial Administrator. I'm going to go through our snapshot of our financial overview as of November 30. I will start out with the overall picture, and then we will drill down to the revenues and expenses. So this first slide here shows us our net revenue over expenditures for the year-to-date as of November 30. As you can see, our net revenue over expenditures for this time period is $6.7 million. Now, I don't want you to get too excited. I want to remind you that we have another month where we will have minimal revenue and, a full month of expenses. And I just want to remind you too, because you might be saying, well, property taxes are due in December. Well, let me remind you that although property taxes are paid in December, that amount is held and then distributed to the taxing authorities in January. So that is something we will look at on January. So the month of December, we do have a small tax distribution in December, but that is just for motor vehicle, RV, excise tax. So this balance will go down again in December. I want to, at the end of October, it was, 11 million. So, like I said, I don't want you to get overly excited, but this is where we are. But it is, we do have reason to be optimistic. We are at 4.9 million above what we had budgeted. There are really two components of that part, the revenue component and then the expenditures. The revenue, we are 1.6 million over budget for this year, and I'll go into the details of that. And then we are under budget on the expenditures, 3.3 million for the year. And I will go into that later too. So it's the components of those two that total up to the 4.9 million that we are over budget. You can see we're a little in better shape than last year at this time also, by 419,000. If we look at just the month of November compared to budget, we are 747,000 above budget just for the month of November. If we go on, now I start to drill down, and first I will look at revenue. If we look at our total revenue at 95 million for year to date, that is 1.6 million, as I mentioned before, above our budget. You can still see, though, by looking at this graph, 1.6 million is a large number, but the percentage-wise is not as large as it may sound. If we look at compared to last year, we are 446,000 in total revenue above last year. If we look at just November, we are $844 over budget. So we're pretty much just right on budget. But there again, we did not have any large income items or revenue items in the month of November. If I take us to the next category, I will break this revenue down into three categories, as I usually do: taxes, special assessments, and other revenue. Our taxes is pretty much the same as last month. As you can see, our taxes are down 1,063,000. So that is about the same place it was last month. We actually are 32,000 better in our variance for the month of for November, but that was all in franchise tax. Our franchise tax came in at 32,000 more than we expected. And there again, if you look, it's a little higher than last year by 2.1 million. But that was anticipated, that was budgeted. So we are below our budget by the 1 million. And the majority of that is ad valorem tax. We go to our special assessments. This again is pretty much the same as last month. Year to date, we are 142,000 under budget. But like I say, there again, that did not change much between October and November. Now we look at our other revenue, and our other revenue is really what has helped our revenue this year and what has kept us above our budgeted amount. Because as you can see here, we are 2.8 million over budget on our other revenue category. You can also see that we are under last year by 1.3 million. And I really want to talk about mainly the difference between this budget and our actual for this year. Most of this is in mortgage registration fees, which was 1.3 million over estimated, or over our budget. And most of that was in several large, or quite a bit of it was in several large filings that we had for mortgage registration fees. Other than that, it's pretty much in one-time items that really can't be budgeted, in clawback fees, in we had a defeasance, those types of things that were one-time items that really helped our revenue this year, but that really couldn't be budgeted. So it wasn't necessarily that the budget was wrong, it was that these items came in that were unexpected. Luckily, they were positive things that were unexpected. On these other revenue items, for the month of November, we were below budget for by 30,000, so pretty much right on budget for the month of November. So that is looking at our revenue side. Now if we go to our expenditure side, this, as you can see, we are 3.3 million under budget for this year. If you look at it and you compare it to last year, our expenditures year-to-date, as of the end of November, are only 27,000 above last year. So we are not spending a lot more than we did last year. We're right in line with last year's expenditures. And if I look at just November, just the November budget to actual, we are down, well, we are 746,000 below budget in our expenditures against this month. You know, I did this last month, and I must say it again, I want to commend all of our departments, because they are really watching their costs everywhere they can and really keeping costs down. All of these are really going to help our general fund balance at the end of the year. And you know, it's evident, like say, we were 746,000 under budget for this month. So they are really doing a good job in watching their costs and really keeping that, you know, as down to the minimum they possibly can. Be happy to answer any questions you have.
Mr. Cook?
Madam Chair, thank you. Mr. Reiner, we talk about the mortgage registration fee as one of those key components that's really keeping Shawnee County on the right side. And so as we have this discussion in a larger setting with the state and the legislatures, they're talking about that mortgage registration fee. That mortgage registration fee is fairly critical to the financial solvency of Shawnee County, as it probably is for a lot of counties. And would you agree with that?
Yes, absolutely. I think this year it will be about $2.5 million in mortgage registration fees. So if we do not receive that, that will be a big hit to the county. And if you look at that in terms of mills, that is well over 1 mil. It's closer to 2 mils in property taxes.
And so if you were to remove that, not only is the financial solvency of the county impacted, it will impact programs and budgets across the board.
Absolutely.
And those would impact services, whether it's to the elderly or the, you know, the people that cannot afford it, Parks and Rec, all the way through to Public Works.
Absolutely. You know, our budget expenditures have got to be determined based on the revenue that will come in. So as your revenue is decreased or taken away from you, then yes, that will affect all the budgets in all departments.
Well, and I think second to Parks and Recreation was first. I think Register of Deeds Office was the second in the highest amount of revenue that was coming in, other than taxes. So, well, motor vehicle and some of those, Treasurer's Office, but I think you were ranked in the top 3, at least when I was reviewing budgets.
So it will make a large impact.
It will.
Which is why, you know, our lobbyists and counselors speak very candidly with the legislature as to how it will impact Shawnee County with our local legislators.
Commissioner Archer?
And I appreciate that, Commissioner Cook, and you're absolutely right. But not only if we, would it impact services and our commitment to the county, if we have to raise property tax, there's always a group of people that have problems maintaining their household. And their businesses that have to pay property taxes, and they may be on the edge. So it's not just services and things we can do, it's people keeping their homes in many cases. And when we raise property tax, it always has an impact on a number of people and their ability to maintain their homes.
Yeah,
So
it's shifting that responsibility
right.
to property taxes, and that continues to be unsolved.
Just real quick, since we're talking mortgage registration, Rich Eckert, County Counselor, I'm sure that the three of you are going to talk with legislators also over the next 4 or 5 months. And the other side on this, the banking industry, is going to continue to make the point over and over again, your Register of Deeds office is small and it collects a bunch of money, and that's not fair. Now remember, that's not all that fee does. That fee is, it's really a land records fee. And the departments that funds are the appraiser's office, the county clerk's office that has tax administration, the Register of Deeds as well, but also our GIS. And then another component, which in our case is part of the appraiser's office, is the amount of time the IT department spends in support of all those departments. And then now you're talking a lot of money, and I'm gonna have those numbers available to what that adds up to for us. But we had a conference call with the urban counties this week, and Sedgwick pointed out that, well, if I can get this to work properly, they spend $7.3 million in support of property records, just property records. So that fee does far more than the record of deeds. So don't let anybody tell you that. Be sure to correct them, that it's land records component of the counties.
Good point. Thank you.
Thank you.
Rich. All right.
Any other questions?
Thanks, Betty. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Administrative communications.
Tom?
Commissioners, Tom Black again, Public Works and Solid Waste. Now that we are coming upon a holiday week next week, in the next 2 weeks actually, I want to just reiterate the solid waste schedule for next week, pickup schedule. Monday, we'll be picking up customers who are our Monday and Tuesday customers. Tuesday the 24th and Wednesday the 25th are both county holidays, so there'll be no service on those days. On Thursday, December 26th, we will be picking up from our Wednesday and Thursday customers, and on Friday the 27th, there will be normal pickup for our Friday customers. So that's for next week. The week of New Year's, if you can all remember this, Monday the 30th would be regular Monday pickup just for Monday customers. On Tuesday the 31st, we're going to be picking up Tuesday and Wednesday customers. Wednesday is the 1st, that's a holiday, so there'll be no service on Wednesday. And then Thursday the 2nd and Friday the 3rd will be normal collection for Thursday and Friday customers accordingly. So, and that is also, I think, IT put on the front page of the Shawnee County website a link to the schedule. So if anybody doesn't remember what I just said, they can go to our website and click on it and get it there.
Very good.
Thank you.
Anyone else? As Dave's coming up to the podium, just a reminder to everyone that we have a meeting, Board of County Commissioners meeting on Monday, and then county offices are closed on Tuesday and Wednesday, and we do not have a county commission meeting on Thursday. Dave?
Commissioners, I'm going to pretend like I'm a meteorologist, and they're wrong half the time at least. We're expecting some inconvenient weather starting maybe later today with some freezing rain, and then of course all the big snow they're talking about now that they keep saying it's going to get worse and worse. So I figure if I stand up here and tell y'all that it's going to be really bad this weekend, and please be prepared that maybe we won't get this storm to come through. But right now, we're actually doing a webinar this afternoon with the Weather Service, but they are gearing up for the big storm Saturday.
I've got a good bit of Christmas shopping to do yet, so I hope not. I hope you're
Well, Mr. Sturbins, I've got my sled ready. I'm looking at Quinton Heights Hill, and I'm ready to go.
Have fun.
All right. Anyone else? Okay, next item.
Executive session?
I believe there was a need. I talked with John Thummel, but we're going to delay that. So any other reason, Mr. Eckert? Okay, if not, we are adjourned. Thank you. Jane, was I supposed to have that meeting at 10:30? Was I supposed to have that meeting at 10:30 with the courts? Are they here?